Hello, everyone. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range. And I have with us Harald Kautz Vella, one of my favorite guests. We like to talk about planetary consciousness and spirituality and things that you may find helpful to know. Welcome, Harald.
Good evening from my end. Good afternoon, I guess, in the United States.
What time is it by you, Harald?
We're at 10 in the evening.
Oh, so, my. Okay.
And good day.
So I was going to ask you at beginning is that there's been some sort of spiritual upliftment on the planet in the past 2 years. Is that correct?
Or... Yes, many of them actually. If you look at the spiritual plane, things are developing quite straight ahead in the view direction. And just to announce the two big ones, the entity most of the people know as Satan, which from the scientific point of view was a completely traumatized, degenerated planetary spirit attached to Gaia. He's removed about 2 years ago. From the divine side. So it was like we had a kind of lab situation where it was up to humanity to find a cure against this type of spirit. So this is why we were left alone with the problem. And for a collective of species, finding a solution means that one needs to find a solution for the collective. And apparently this somehow happened. Somebody found the right spirit and attitude to leave that entity helpless, so that the solution was there as a quality. This is always, if you look at the material plane, it's all about control systems, and if you want to really apply control, you need to control everybody. On the spiritual plane, it's all about qualities. Like in Sodom and Gomorrah, you need 10 righteous people to make not necessary to destroy an entire city. So humanity needed one human somewhere. No clue, nobody knows who this was at the end of the day. But somebody developed that quality that made it possible for Divine Sphere A to put an end to the quarantine the planet was under, and to call this evil entity, evil is we can discuss what evil is. It's a very messed up term, this lost entity, call him back home and prevent more damage done. And since then the quarantine is over, we do have a kind of quite a good amount of friendly entities waiting in the outskirts of the planet to help if needed, if asked for help. This is something that always needs to come from the humans first, to ask for help. And since then also divine intervention on the spiritual plane seems to be possible, because the solution is found. We don't need to fight anymore. On not every single individual. So that was kind of the first big strike against the dark side of duality on this planet. But still, if the head of something is good, it doesn't mean that everything that is devoted to darkness stops being dark. So what we had was basically the number one in the dark hierarchies that people used to know as the all-seeing eye, or the tall one, or the red vampire, which is on the political plane, we could say the guy that was sitting in the shade as the head of the Cabal, the head of the Rothschild dynasty. Basically the number one in the hierarchy that never became visible. in public. And that was 1 year ago that somehow it's an entity that lived here for thousands of years. It was linked basically from dark magic, the dark black magic rituals, maintain eternal life to his already dead body. So he was something like a between vampire and zombie biologically. So he managed to maintain his biology without dying, and he fell into some sort of spiritual trap. This is what was reported by, it came in by Zingdat, channeling of Adamu, one of the fleets waiting outside. And normally I don't really go into the channeling issues and into the alien issues because it's just normally I don't give much trust into the information coming from those circles. But that one channeling that Zinda gave was so extremely accurate. History he painted, including knowledge that I do from the other sources that nobody else have, that I put quite a bit of trust into that channeling. And this would mean that the all-seeing eye, this entity behind all the secret society we know, from the Egyptian tradition, also vanished. And with him, the extremely sophisticated black magic knowledge disappeared because he was the only one in power and he was the only one who knew all the magic tricks to control the planet. And everybody behind him, after him in the hierarchies, just was allowed to learn magic that was in shades. He knew the full spectrum of magics as the only one. Everybody under him just was allowed to apply some magic to function within the hierarchies, because he was afraid of being replaced by somebody that have the ability to be as good as him. So he didn't reveal his knowledge. He came to that position and how he controlled the planet from there. And he stepped to a trap and he just died on the spot. According to Zingda, he basically was about to give the order to start World War III in hierarchy and was stopped by a white ritual before he could do it, and it struck back and it killed him. Like instant karma issues. Like,
Wow. Whoa. Aren't people programmed in such a way that maybe aren't making the best decisions, even though he's gone, now they don't have the power?
Program put into a victim role. This is not supporting healing, if we picture it in that way. What people do have, and this is kind of the point where everybody can immediately start working on himself. We've got this split brain. The left half of the brain is actually problem solving and prediction. Take these computer metaphors. It calculates, it observes how things run, and then it puts these threads together and tries to predict the future to be able to make the best possible decision to solve a problem. This is what is happening, and it's all in cause and effect. It all runs in cause and effect. And the right hemisphere of the brain is gifted with the ability to be aware of everything, to be aware of the collective, to be aware of the higher self that is actually the divine aspect that incarnates through us or in us. It's aware of what happens in other. It's where compassion is sitting in the human. By just knowing thing by awareness. And we come from a history where this left part of the brain, the rational side, is absolutely overrepresented. So that actually we're just running as a future prediction that is something like overlaying echoes. And there's no source in it, no input. It's like put in data and calculate the results and make a decision regarding the memorized premises that are somewhere in the rational self. And it's not responding to things that happen on the side of the real soul from the spirit. It's just like an echo is an echo. You can't change an echo. It's running and running and running and running and running, and it can't produce other things than you have put in. And this characteristics of the mental processing of things. And if we want to basically reinvent ourselves now where manipulation is not existing anymore, where external influence by all these dark entities is not existing anymore, where nobody is doing real magic things that work on us, to be able to reunite that spirit within us, we need to let go from that rational part that is just caught and hung up in echoes. So we need to find that source with us that is giving us a real new impulse, which is our spirit. And this is something we find in the left brain. In the right brain representing the left side of the body with Harald.
I get the two of them mixed up.
Crossover.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's getting mixed up because the right brain is, no, the left brain is controlling the right, again mixed up. The right brain is controlling the left part of the body, and the other way around, the left brain is controlling the right part of the body. So everything that is connected with heart processing that is on the left side is situated in the right side of the brain. So the left side is the rational part, and the right side is the not emotional but straight aware part, the aware part of us. That's just knowing things by tuning into the ocean of knowledge that is somewhere out there. And this is a thing we need to relearn, because we were so focused on problem solving due to traumatization. Every single soul that is here, every single incarnation, and also the things that have built up within the spirit over many, many, many incarnations. All this was very much trauma-based. And if you suffer trauma, you kickstart those problem-solving processes. Keep your mind busy. As long as the mind is busy, you can utilize a meditation to force yourself into a state where you can just feel things and get access to the spiritual realm. But the moment you stop forcing yourself, being there by spiritual practice, your problems will always pull you back into the problem-solving mode. And as long as there's one single trauma left, this pull to the mental is given by nature. And this is what made it so difficult for humans to even realize that the complete setup that is around us was bit by bit emptied from that, or freed from that evil influence.
Wow.
So duality is no more than a habit now. It's our habit that we live as options to evil. It's our habits. It starts with things like scoffing toward animals, which was at the beginning, it started as the original fire and blood sacrifice. This is how the black magic entered human society. You find a meteorite piece with an alien black hole, tribesmen communicate telepathically with that piece of stone, and the stone tells them, I will give you power over the next tribe, neighboring tribe, if you give me fire and blood sacrifice, and then please eat the animals you slaughter in front of this stone. And then the altar was built out of that stone, and you had the first classical blood and fire sacrificial cult that was on one hand serving this alien entity by deploying life force by killing, and it started the perpetual wars between tribes. This is how we learned evil. And at the same time, this mental field was filled with all the programming of social engineering, driving us into a belief that what we worship is God, one loving, and what we do is necessary, which is a complete mad manipulation of the things we thought and did. Because war is never good. War was just this habit of feeding demons that feed on dying people. So this is why you need war. Slaughtering of animals is just to torture and kill animals, because entities used to live on the life force of tortured and killed animals. This is why we were manipulated into those habits. And now it's habit, it's an echo. And we don't realize that it's time to stop with this habit. We still do the barbecues, which is a black magic ritual. We still torture animals on the farms and kill them at the end of their prune life. Realizing why we do it, because it became our habit to do so. When we try to stop that habit on our own end, which would mean stop eating that meat, the addictions pop up. Because if you're flooded with torture energy all your lifetime and you stop putting more toil in yourself, at a certain point, this killer instinct starts to disappear, and we start to feel pain within us, the pain we scoffed in. And the only way to not feel that pain is to restart the ritual and eat more tortured meat. But then your entire system is so flooded with torture that you swim in that ocean of pain and you don't feel the pain anymore. This is why one of the reasons why this crazy addiction to eating meat is there. And we just need to realize it used to be a black magic ritual we were manipulated in. It comes from blood, fire, sacrifice. All our religions are poisoned with that. Remember the story of Abraham and his eldest son, and God told him, sacrifice your son. This is not God. This is not the love of God.
What kind of God is that?
This is it's a meteorite piece, with a fallen entity living in it that needs life force. They demand that type of sacrifice. And the entire planet did it. Maya did it. The Asian cultures did it. They were all sacrificing, not even knowing what they were feeding with it. And still, every single uniform, every single army on this planet carries an oak leaf as a symbol, which is the symbol of black magic, blood sacrifice. We're doing it all over the place, not even knowing. It's habitual and it's echo. We need to realize what echoes within us, and we need to put an end to it by spiritual discipline, saying, no, I don't participate in that anymore. This is what it needs at the moment, because if not, the echo we were riding on was the echo of self-destruction. It's the myth of Phoenix from the ash, and we were flying at that point, and the next point was burning down to ash. This was basically our programmed future, destroying the planet, burning our culture down to ash, and flying away to space with all the other space fleets with biorobots to conquer the next planet. This is basically the agenda that this entity was living for, I don't know, millennia is maybe a percentage of what, or promille. It's a very old entity that did that. and I don't know how many thousands of planets are destroyed by this way of living. And this is something beautiful, that apparently humanity was the first race that could put an end to that, and that solution that was found here can now be applied on all the other planets that fell under demonic control. And healing is on the way. It's when I can't quote Bible by numbers, but if you look into the old scripts and you've got this story of Adam and Eve, basically the moment when we fell to this entity, that there was a promise made by, I guess, a real God, that don't worry, it's just for a period of years, and at the end of that period, I will get you out of there. And this we see, the problem is solved. We fulfilled what apparently Source knew we would be able to do, and now it gets us out of that with whatever is necessary. And I don't see it. That doesn't feel like we're allowed to self-destroy. It's a good thing when a guarantee is over, intervention is possible. So I don't think that anyone, any entity or institution or organization or secret society, whatever thinks it is powerful, will be allowed to put a hand on that planet. We live in a divine place, and making Gaia so vast now is on the absolutely top of the priority list before our own learning process. And it's something I experience a lot in the spiritual lane when you think about intervention, the sense of telling somebody what he's doing wrong, even on that plane. Somebody comes to you and tells you, I've got a problem, can you help me? If you just say, yes, this and that is wrong with you, and do this and that to get right, normally you kill his learning process. Because some things every single individual needs to find out by himself. So it's not fair to just share the truth just because you know better. You need to always regard the learning process and the process of spiritual growth by learning from the own mistakes. And this was something we were left in for quite a while as humanity. We were brought down to this point of being caught in duality. We had some time to wake up, to realize what's happening, but no, we did. So the echo goes on. We're taking serious steps towards World War III. Is what I could observe the last month. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Trying to lay in hand on Iran, trying to lay a hand on Syria, trying to provoke Russia into a world war over Syria, trying to provoke Iran to attack this, trying to do this, trying to do that, going to Indonesia, manipulating the elections in Indonesia, using the social media and CIA manipulation to get riots on the streets and have China intervene by military intervention throughout Asia. They were pushing every single button to kickstart suffering. It didn't function.
Wow.
And it doesn't function because the spirits of humanity are too calm, too peaceful, and just don't deliver the energy it is needed. If you look at all the wars that they managed to start, it was not possible to start them locally. In Syria, they wanted to start a civil war in Syria. It didn't work. They had to import 3 million refugees from Iraq to gather enough trauma inside Syria to have the ignition point of civil war. You can't start war only with traumatized people. If there's not enough trauma and desire for restaging trauma within the people, it's just like trying to to light a beam with a little lighter. It will not start burning. You can't do it. This is why they started with the cultural technique of importing traumatized people. They were importing all the refugees to Europe because European people had learned their lesson from 2 world wars. They're tired of war. So it needs their external trauma to be imported with all the refugees from Africa, from Afghanistan, from Syria, from Iraq, all the traumatized people flooding into the European countries to get that starting point. Yeah, and it's really funny to see how the Germans react. They know that half of them are under ISIS control, that they all have handlers and are supplied with weapons. And they still celebrate that welcome culture, taking their children to school, helping them out with money, with food, being nice to them, just to pull the trauma. It's instinctive, beautiful behavior. Because it's obvious when the traumas are not there anymore. Why should those people slaughter Germans just because their handler tells them so? There's no desire inside to ever see violence again. As long as they're traumatized, I need to have a second look at violence to get back to the point where I was traumatized, to be able to heal. And then they are willingly joining into this. This is the concept they run. So, yeah, on one hand, it's not easy to welcome. On the hand, if you welcome them, you cure them or heal their traumas, and act nicely to them, help them with whatever really is needed.
When someone I'm sorry. I was just going to ask you about when someone is traumatized like that. I mean, there's all kinds of different traumas, even, you know, the prison system in the United States and the incarceration rate and so on. Though over petty stuff really creates a lot of trauma too. And there has to be ways to circumvent that trauma. And I'm wondering how does a individual go about trying to neutralize those effects, in your opinion?
There's one core issue with all humans, and the only button I think I can show that can be pressed within everybody, and this is the core decision: do I really want to be a feeling entity? We have all these gifts. We can think, we can feel, and we have heart that integrates all of it's healthy. So the thinking is an aspect of heart consciousness, and feeling is an aspect of heart consciousness, and the heart integrates both emotion and thought. This is kind of the healthy thing, and we've been in a state where feeling things was so painful most of the time that we got tired of being emotional being. This is where all these blockages come from. They don't come from the fact that feeling is too painful. It comes from the fact that we got tired from feeling and that we block our feelings. As long as the real feeling is there, just stored subconscious emotion, sit somewhere in your system, then it's like a mental blockage to go there. And this is where most of the people hang with their habits, that whenever something inconvenient pops up, they just, like a radio, they just tune out of that state and go somewhere else. This is the way you heal yourself. Because we reject every inconvenient moment. Instead of realizing inconvenience, pain is healing. If I want to be healed and I want to develop my full potential, just have to go through all these healing processes and reconquer my entire spiritual potential. And if something got lost somewhere, if I can't access whatever, like stupid examples, I was in family where education was rather rough, and as a child I was never allowed to express my own anger. And then I grow up and my anger is suppressed. And I suffer a lot, but I can't get angry. Then it's all about realizing, okay, there's still anger within me on the biochemical plane. This is what we call emotion. I have the tendency, you know, if it triggers me so badly that at the end of the day I do get angry, I have the tendency that this emotion flows into that act and destroys everything. And this is even traumatizing me more because I get afraid from myself that I could do something that's out of my own control. And it's just, you know, you can take all these things completely calm, say, yes, I suffered. I forgive you, mom. I forgive you, daddy. I got stored emotion in my body. Let's get that out. Let's do some organ cleansing to get the deposits dissolved within my body. When you do the organ cleansing, just to announce, Andreas Moritz has best protocols I've ever seen, organ cleansing. If you clean your liver, you will realize, okay, on day 3, all the anger pops out of your system. You go in the garden and you just stamp it into the soil to get the emotion out of your system. And the next time somebody is teasing you, you will be able to not be in the position to somehow process all that blocked and stored emotion. You will be able just to have that feeling flowing, and then you'll be angry. And then if you learn your lesson, there are 2 different ways to deal with anger. If you really are capable of processing it yourself, say, I am angry. Yeah, and it flows through your system. It is your anger that flows through your system. If you're too much in the habit of not wanting to have that feeling, you might as well say, you asshole, and then you shoot that anger out of your system, and it's introduced into the system of one you swear at, and then he is in the position that he needs to deal with your anger. And if he's conscious enough to just smile and say, why do you shoot with your emotions at me? Would you please take that back? And he can consciously send it back to sender. Then might as well have a subconscious thing that starts to escalate, like he feels attacked, he feels back. And then the discussion ping pong, and everybody is adding his stored emotion to it, and this is what makes us fight and freak out and kill each other. All those stored things with us. But it's easy if you realize how the mechanism works. It's very easy to maintain your own system in absolute love, self-love. You look at what is, you make your peace with your own history. And if there's some deposit in your body, just deal with the deposit. Make sure that you get that chemistry out of your body. Many different methods to do so. Just go through the emotion, drinking lots of healthy activated water, flush it out of your system, and do the organ cleansing. Sometimes it's good to go into some psychodrama by challenging the people you had topics with, like go back to your parents' home and open the case for those things that were not spoken about in earlier years. You know, everything you can just think of that brings clearing and healing into your relationships and into your own spirit, to the point where it just flows naturally. And when it all just flows naturally, automatically the spirit is in the right point and can't cause havoc to surrounding people and to the place we live in.
Okay. Well, we're having some trouble with bandwidth. I hope we can, the sound quality isn't real good. So hopefully we'll be able to, it'll be okay when I,
We'll see. If it doesn't work, then we do it the day.
Yeah, if it's real bad, we might have to do this again. I think part of the problem is I'm using a hotspot instead of my usual setup, but I'm in the midst of moving and a number of things, so I don't have the same system that I usually work on. But anyway, we'll do it as, you know, we'll see how it turns out when we're done. But anyway, let's go on. There was something else that I wanted to bring up. You talked a little bit before about well, I don't know if I want to get into it too much, but the satanic mind. Now that will be pretty much just something, since the entity was removed, it should, you know, provide the opportunity to be able to heal. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. We're out of direct manipulation. As long as that manipulation worked, like with having all the example, the snakes as Kundalini snake in our systems. Yeah, they were basically from the Adam and Eve story when the snake came into the game. This happened to every single human, and we had two snakes embedded within the bioenergetics. Kundalini snake, that is quite well known, but also a male partner of Kundalini, the Pumu snake, that was sitting the other way around in the system, connecting emotion and mind, bypassing the heart. That's the original setup that split us into a mental body and an emotional body that was in eternal struggle in between the two. Not able to integrate it in the heart because these snakes made the bypass. If you manipulate it energetic in that way, it's very difficult to sort out things. So this is what we were facing. Now the snakes somehow vanished once the master is gone. I guess if you would kill Gaia or take Gaia away from this planet, all the animals would deteriorate as well because they are living from that blueprint. And Gaia is the blueprint for every single species. If that alien planetary consciousness is gone, all the logically all the entities that are have formed the coherence have vanished as well after a time. So the snakes, from my observation, were the first ones to completely disappear. The spiders were in place quite a little bit longer. But this entire thing is vanishing, so I can't really. If I've been in Berlin a couple of days ago, and I was walking across Alexanderplatz, the main central point of Berlin, just tuned into the people. It was so beautiful to see that everybody was actually in a very calm place within himself. Still living in completely wrecked bodies, overweight, intoxicated from food, from drug abuse. But somehow everybody was in this hard point, was reflecting his own life in a beautiful way that I haven't seen before. So things are happening. I'm sad to say that I didn't see them working for that. It looks like that this came as a rescue or as a present to them, that suddenly all these manipulations stopped working and they come into a place where they actually have the ability to sort out their personal history.
Well, in so many ways, they really
yeah.
thwarted our free will through the mind control systems that were used against us. Isn't that true? Our free will?
Free will is a very strange term. What I know as free will is something that is absolutely not free, because the entire word free is a fuck up. It's a mess. We've got the free market, we've got the Freemasons, we've got the free press, and nothing of that is
And none of them are
free
free.
to even a percent of it. So forget about that word. What we do have is the divine aspect of ourselves that's creative. And the creativity of that divine aspect has this need and desire and joy expressing itself. And if it has the space and the opportunity to express itself, it's free. This is my freedom. And nobody can stop me from having it. Completely impossible. There is no way to take away that freedom of creativity and expression from me. It was possible to manipulate me to belief systems that I need to earn money and creativity is not paid for, so I have to do stupid crap instead. All this was possible as well as this manipulations there, but once I'm aware of my spiritual self, nothing can stop me from doing that.
Our
And this
spiritual
is at the same time, it is 100% integrated part of the collective and of the swarm consciousness. Because all these aspects of the divine dancing together over the planet, they're not designed in a way that they fight each other or cross each other's way in a destructive way. It's a beautiful dance that is perfect. And I don't need to override the creativity of somebody else to be creative myself. It's not necessary. Now, the free will everybody else is talking about is this. We were cut off from our swarm consciousness. We lost the ability to feel our own creativity, which means we lost the ability to move as a part of the storm. And instead we got panicked, and the problem-solving entity said, what shall I do now? And then it comes up with completely mental ideas how to act or not act. And the philosophy declared it as free will, which is the complete opposite of the true free will we can live.
That's true.
So if my free will is it to earn 1 million and hold 10,000 slaves to serve me and wipe my butt, I can't declare that free will. This is why the free market and the economy in capitalism has nothing to do with freedom, because it is designed to destroy the freedom of every single participant.
So
Not the freedom, but the creativity.
freedom
It
has
has nothing to do with freedom. It's the absolute opposite.
freedom as we
It
know
has nothing to fight.
and free.
Yeah, there's nothing to fight because we just need to find that creativity within ourselves, and nobody can stop us from doing so.
Creative
So there's no problem.
is very important, isn't it?
Yes. And also creative expression. I since I don't know, 6 years, 7 years, I just do what I feel like doing, and what I feel that it's necessary that because it needs to be done. If I see something that needs to be done for the sake of society or humanity, and I realize, oh, apparently there's nobody around that is doing it, I have the capability of doing it. I just co-check once or twice whether this is really my thing or whether it's better to wait for somebody else to jump in. And if it needs to be done, I do it. I don't ask for payment for that or for being awarded and whatever. It needs to be done, and it's out of an impulse of love, so I do it. And this also is creativity,
Yes.
because those issues don't come to me for nothing. Yeah, I get like 3 different samples of black goo into my hands. Nobody else knows about the substance. I know I've got the mental abilities to make some analysis on scientific level. What could that be? And those samples came to me, so apparently it lies on my soul plane to find the answer to what Black goo is. So I do the research, I publish the results, and that's it. Nobody paid me for it. Nobody gave me a contract at any university to make research. We were running on zero budget all the time. I made a decision. I want to bring light into that chapter of human history because I wanted to understand what happened. Because what we are doing is absolutely weird and unbelievable. And if you're in a part of a species that is doing absolutely weird and unbelievably stupid things, of course, it's my desire to understand what the hell happened to us, who messed up our minds and our souls in a way that we do all these incredible things like torturing animals, fracking the planet, destroying the ley line system, which is, we are destroying her brain right now by exploding nukes underground exactly on the level where all those beautiful ley lines are filled with her brain liquid. How can you do that? You know, normally the conscience must jump in and scream from sec one. Can't do that. Look at American soldiers going to all these war excuses in their heads, like Afghanistan. You've got this cultural habit of child abuse, and the Afghan people are all armed by tradition and they shoot out of the background. So we have all the right of the world to be here because they're child molesters and be the one who shoot first. So they go through the country and deposit 2,000 tons of radioactive uranium, making this entire country inhabitable for the next 20,000 years. Are you insane? How can you do that? How can you go there, carry all these stupid excuses in your head, and then do crime 20,000 times harder? Yeah? And the situation where your own lead is molesting children and killing them on a daily basis. Full portion of projection of guilt onto people where you don't even know these stories are invented or just happen every now and then, you know?
Wow.
Definitely it's happening. Yeah? But this the mind does. The mind is completely disconnected from any truth. And if you want to know the truth, go to that other spot in your brain where you can feel the collective. And then you get the real values of the things you're about to do.
Ah.
And you get the real value of what it means to go to a war. Then you get the real value of what it means to use any ammunition. Don't need to look at the killed babies that go off in month 5 or 6 in pregnancy, coming out like little rot aliens, which is happening in Iraq now with every second mother. I don't know how the percentage is, because you made the entire inhabitable for 12,000 years.
It's insane.
When all that crap is on the minds of the American soldiers, why they go there. If you just spend a second in your true self, in your heart, to feel what you're doing, you would just run home screaming and telling your brothers never go to the army. So this is what it needs now, to make some heart-based things that are actually still running in a way of just being echoes, bad habits.
Yeah.
Externally by doing bad things, and internally by listening to the wrong part of your brain. Also, and I promise you, the right part of your brain is available by now. If you don't go there, you don't go there, and you're fully responsible for not going. No excuses, it's just us now.
So, oh, that's good. There's no excuses now. The connection is
No,
available if you're willing
none.
to put in the work.
Yes. Yes.
Did you say it got kind of quiet?
No, no,
I didn't know if
I
you're,
think it's a very good, it's a good
our
last
bandwidth is
sentence if
pretty
you want.
bad. But, okay.
And
Uh, well, I've been doing more of these creative journeys um, to reach the spiritual realm of the creative. And it's been doing wonderful things in my life. And I use the hue sound because it's a primordial sound. And I hope more people, are able to realize this and work on their spiritual self. And I don't mean religion either. Um, and maybe it's a place to start, but it goes down the wrong path. But anyway, um, all that now can go away. Things are actually improving on the planet, even though, because it seems like everything that um, the cabal or the guys that the entities that are responsible for this are their plans are all imploding. It's not working, and that's a good thing.
yeah. Curious. I just found today on Veterans Today, short notification that the USS Abraham Lincoln disappeared. Did you get that?
What happened?
They don't know. She just disappeared. She was sent to Iran to start the war, and she just disappeared.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
This is why I start to more and more have the feeling that you start to see the divine intervention. We are not allowed to
Yes,
self-destroy.
yes. That gives me
This is
goosebumps.
how it feels. Whatever happened there, my first thought was something like Bermuda Triangle effects of methane gas bubbling up, swallowing her as a possibility. I don't know what happened. There's no. Um, it was just an intel leak, and VT checked whether one of the soldiers is still online playing World of Warcraft. And apparently all the soldiers that used to play World of Warcraft based on the ship, none of them online anymore. So that was kind of a first confirmation of the intel that leaked. And I'm also curious to see how that story develops, if she's really gone.
Yes. Well, it is.
It feels, I don't know, it just feels like divine intervention. I was getting into dire straits when I heard that they sent her down because they tried to attack Iran for years, try to kickstart that war. And they said, okay, we need to take Syria first and completely destroy Syria before we can start fighting Iran. There's all the military plans in the background. And Syria still stands and time is running away for these crazy people. And apparently there was this, I also just get second-hand intel that Trump got a phone call. If he doesn't attack now, they will flush him down the toilet with Papa. That was something that leaked from the White House.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so now his ship is gone, so he can't.
Well, so things are looking up on the planet in some ways. Maybe a lot of people don't see it, but I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes that will be beneficial for the planet in the long run. Would you agree?
Yeah, but it always sounds like we need to wait for something to happen. No, we need to do things. all the beneficial things are done by somebody.
Okay.
And if you wait for somebody else to do beneficial things, then actually the logical implication of that is that nobody does anything. This
Oh,
is like the internal world is always identical with what the external is mirroring you. And if you wait and do nothing, everybody around you will wait and do nothing. This is how timelines define themselves. And I don't know if at a certain point the timeline will split. Do something will end up in a timeline where things done and other people who don't do anything. And doing always means working on yourself. You can't change anything in the outside, but you can change everything within yourself. And then the outside, that is just a mirror reflection of your internal setup, will automatically change. This is how this is a nonlinear order of the creation, and it is superior to the cause and effect scheme that the dark realm used to run. They try to control things by controlling cause and effect. And the divine side always works on that mirroring concept that if you are a good person and if you are a loving person, that the universe outside of yourself can be can't be any other than reflecting that love into your direction. And that work out for every single individual without colliding. This is the big miracle of the creation. I can just look at and be astonished about that it really works out for every single individual. That you can see how powerful the source, the creator of things is, that he handles every single aspect in a way that this equation works for every single one. But it does. Didn't find a single exception until today.
I think we've reached about an hour now, Harold, and I think we can either take a break, or I'm not sure how the sound quality is on this. I maybe should check it. And
Yeah, check your recording and we can talk half an hour, whether it's to continue or restart the entire thing, because by then it's late evening and my satellite is a bit quicker. Maybe you can shift to the other server on your end or connection mode. I don't know.
oh,
If the sound is hanging on your end of technology. I know I have sound issues because we connect via satellite. And sometimes too many people go there. But normally during late evening hours, it's rather calm and okay. So
it's usually okay. Is
we
that
can reach it
what,
in the evening. But I get you also with a massive delay between picture and voice.
yeah.
So it
I get
might be your
some
end.
sound distortions too. Um,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, because Zoom's recording in the middle, so you know what sound quality you get. Possible that I'm on there, okay, and you're on there, okay, and that the sound effects just appear when you download my part to your end.
Oh,
So
okay.
just check it. Download the zooming, and then you will know what it is.
Ah, okay.
And if you really found the content worth being rescued, I know I did not record. Sorry, I no, I can't send you anything. Because maybe we can do it also in a way that I do a recording here, and then send you the sound file, and you can join the things together if you have the software to edit the video. Then you can get direct my computer sound, my voice recorded by my computer.
Oh,
It would be an option.
that might work better because there is quite a bit of distortion here. I was gonna I didn't want to stop you, but I'm wondering. I need to listen to it and see if people will be able to, hear it. Okay.
Yeah, I can check it with you. Just send me the next link there and we can rejoin on Zoom in half an hour.
Okay. I'll stop this one
Okay.
and do a different link then. Okay.
Hmm? Yeah. Okay. See you later.
Okay. We're taking a break.
Bye. Yeah.
Okay.